Hey there, friends. Yay, it's Thursday. Yay, we love Thursday. I gotta tell you guys a funny story. When I was 40, Chris, y'all probably don't know this, Chris is a little over 11 years younger than me. And for my 40th birthday, he got me, because he's younger, you know, he thought he would present his girlfriend with something super cool. Well, it was a Buzz Lightyear action figure, and I loved it. I love Buzz Lightyear. I think that Buzz Lightyear is the epitome of somebody's dream just not working out, and him being able to accept it and to move on from it. So for 40, he got me a Buzz Lightyear action figure. For 50, he got me Captain Jack Sparrow. Find smoother waters. Captain Jack Sparrow orders it savvy. If it's not squalls, it's reefs. If it's not reefs, it's an incompetent at the helm. Obviously, I love Captain Jack Sparrow, so that was my 50th birthday. My 60th is coming up next week, so I told him last night, I said, you know, we've got the action figure thing going on. We've been together 25 years. You know, we should do the action figure thing, of course, since it's a 60th celebration. He said, well, which ones do you want? I don't know what you're into now. So I said, I want Thor. And I want Loki, and I want Thor and Loki, because that's the intriguing thing with life, right? It's dark and it's light, it's good and it's bad, it's evil and it's nice. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get me a Loki. I wanted to show you guys a really easy project this morning. I think that we're all familiar with these beautiful bauble balls that Jennibellie does. I have made several of these and I love them. My problem with them is that they take forever. I was thinking about these just because I had run across my my bauble ball holder when I was cleaning some things out. Hold on a second and I'll get that for you. It's just a little Moose Crunch gourmet popcorn container that I keep my baubles in, and I'll show this to you real quick. I'm sorry about the extreme close-up. These are beads that do not fit anything. They don't fit on cording. They don't fit on embroidery floss. So when I run into beads that don't fit, I just kind of chuck them in this little bag in this container, along with my bauble balls that I have already made. So you can see that I have a couple that I've started but have not finished. This one I've gotten a little ways on. But like I said, you know, the problem with this is that they just take up a whole lot of time, which is good and bad because they're like a meditation. You know, you can sit for 4 hours and do one, or you can do what I did this morning, and you can make yourself a beaded bead. I took Jennibellie's idea and just kind of condensed it and made it smaller. And I did it in a bead format instead of a hanging string format. So I wanted to show you guys how I did this morning. It's not like difficult or anything like that. I thought it'd be nice to kind of just sit here with you for a second and kind of tell you about some stuff. Oh, wow. We don't want to do that. Some stuff that that's going on right now. So this is a recycle craft, y'all. You can use whatever you want. I use, when I make my baubles, I use bread packaging. You know, that plastic stuff. I'll use a rice bag. I've got this little bauble going, and I'll show you how I make a bauble. I kind of just slice up the, now of course if you're making a big bauble, you'll want to just use the rice bag in its entirety, but it's a little bit easier to roll into a ball when you can kind of work with several small pieces. So there we go, and I'm going to tuck this one in here like this. So, you know, we can kind of feel that ball coming together. I'm using just regular Scotch tape. You know, you might call it cellophane tape. In the southern United States, this is Scotch tape because Scotch was the brand of tape that we used, exactly like Mayo is Duke's. So that's the Mayo we use, and that's the brand of tape we use. So there we go. I've kind of got my ball started. I'm not being too fussy about it. You know, you can only make, you know, you can only make so much of a ball when you're using rectangular objects like this. The next thing that I like to do, that's how I did this one this morning, was just use, you know, I'm looking at that and I think I'm going to use one more on each of those baubles I made. Make them just a little bit, just a wee bit bigger. And then we will, we'll put some masking tape. Sometimes you have bags that have like this little tap thing on it. Just put that on the inside, y'all. We also have to kind of be careful about getting it too compact because we're going to stick a skewer in it. And then that way we have a bead instead of a bauble. We have something that we can hang from you know, from a journal or junk journal or whatever. So there we go. We've really got our ball coming along. And you can tell that this one is a little bit bigger than the one that I made from the bottom of the bread. But you know, it's another great way to just keep stuff out of the recycle bin. And that's really the trick, isn't it? I went to Lidl yesterday to drop off my recycling, and they have taken out their recycle bins. Very surprising. They had a very nice recycling place. It's like, well, I guess I will have to go to Lowe's from now on to drop off recycling. They also have a really nice recycling center at Lowe's. Okay, so we've got our ball done. And of course, if you've got tissue paper, use tissue paper. If you've got newspaper, use newspaper. Just use whatever you have to make your basic ball. This morning, I did use a bit of masking tape on this ball. It just seemed to make things kind of stick a little bit better to it. So I'm also going to do that. Jennibellie covers her bauble balls with tissue paper. So she uses Mod Podge and tissue paper and kind of does hers, which works out great. No problem there. I've done them both ways. I've done them with masking tape. Because to me, masking tape is really strong, and it's, you know, it's not wet, and I don't have to wait on something to dry because I'm impatient about things drying. Alright, so there we go, guys. We've made our little ball. The next thing that we want to do is grab a pokey tool, or, you know, a metal skewer if you have it, and go ahead and start your hole. Let me see. I did not put masking tape right there, so I think I'm going to start my hole right here. And you're going to have to be forceful, but that's okay because this thing can take it. You know, it's plastic or it's paper or whatever. Like I said, this is a great recycle project. You can use seed beads, you can use glitter, you can use the, you know, this glitter glue, you know, that Recollections makes. You can do homemade art glass, and I'll show you a little bit of that as we move along here. Now, here's the tricky part. Tricky part is getting this skewer through here and not breaking the skewer. So, and you are going to have to be a bit forceful to get this thing through here. But that's okay. All right. Speaking of force, we have break-ins in our neighborhood this weekend. And the culprit kicked in a garage door and found some fireworks and had himself a fireworks show, which finally, you know, alerted everybody, the neighbors and all. Okay, I'm trying to punch that through there. Let me get my pokey tool one more time. He came to our house and got in our garage and helped himself to car keys and tried to get into the only car in our driveway that is not running. As you guys know, Chris works on Z cars, Nissan Z cars. That's what he does, and he plays music. And so the thief dropped the. I can assure you guys, this was not this hard this morning. I'm sorry, y'all. I would have put it on the skewer. Ah, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna put some Vaseline or something on that. So anyway, what was I telling you about? Oh yeah, the break-in. Because he got in our garage is right where we sleep. And it has left me unsettled. Obviously, this was like someone who was deranged. I mean, he did weird things, like he broke into my neighbor's garage and stole beer and a machete. And so, I mean, what does that tell you? You know, probably just a young kid. This has happened before, but not to this extent. And it just makes you feel weird, y'all. I just feel, you know, I don't feel safe in my house. And I've lived here 11 years. And it's just made me feel really weird. And it has, it's kind of messed with my energy. Does that make sense? So anyway, I think that today Chris has a show, and so it'll be quiet around the house, and he won't be working on cars, and I think I'll do a little healing ceremony out back where this person was, and you know, hope for the best there. Okay, so we've finally got our ball onto our skewer. I am sorry that took forever, y'all, but it was not that hard this morning. The next thing that you're going to want to do is just kind of get out your supplies. Now, I've got a little bit of this really sweet glitter that my art angel sent. I've got some glass beads. These are beads that I've kind of collected along the way. When a bead will not fit on my needle, I just drop it in a certain section of the bead tray that I'm working in, and then I just kind of harvest my beads from all my different kind of bead trays. I also have some bugle beads here, just a little bit of an assortment of that. I love this stuff. It's called copper dust, and I really do like using it on projects. So I do have some of that. I have some art glass that I made a while back, so I still have some chippy bits of that, so we'll be using that. If you would like to make your own art glass, you take a piece of acetate, take some glitter glue, put the glue on the acetate on both sides, let it dry, and then you can cut it into tiny bits. Always put glasses on before you do this, because it really is kind of a glassy effect. And then you have these tiny little chippy bits that are homemade art glass. Very cool. Jennibellie has a tutorial about how to do that. I also have a selection of seed beads over here, so we've got those. And, you know, if you guys want to personalize these, they're great to personalize, because you can You can just use these letter beads that you can get at the craft store and, you know, put words or, you know, someone's name on it. So they make a sweet little gift. And this would be a great project for the kiddos this summer because it does take a bit of time to get these beads on here. And it does take drawing time as well. So, great little project for the kiddos. Alright, let's get started. I'm using some Eileen's tacky glue. I love these small bottles of tacky glue. I'm kind of addicted to them. They have them for $1 at the Dollar Tree. And I love them. They're small. They don't, like, I love this, but it sometimes hurts my hand to try and squeeze this big bottle of glue. So I am just using some tacky glue. I need to chop the top off that. This project works better if you have like a small top glue. Don't chop it down here or anything. I actually chopped off too much of this. Alright, we're going to start with just one place and we're going to add glue. Just like that. That was a lot of glue. Sorry. That was a lot of glue. Let's just kind of, with our finger, we'll just spread that around a little bit. But let me tell you something, you guys. You're going to need a glop of glue, okay? It doesn't work unless your glue is a bit gloppy. You want to take like a little focal element. I'm sort of scared of that because it does have, it's not flat on the back. Yeah, that's not going to work. You're looking for things that are flat or relatively flat. So I think I'm going to use that. That's really pretty. You decide on a few focal things and then you build from the focal element that you've chosen. Guys, you know those gem chips that you can buy that I think we all have some of? They work great on this project. So I'm just using some gem chips and I've dropped in a couple of beads. I'm having a lot of issues trying to see this morning. I apologize. Okay, what else can I use here? I think that's too big. And the longer you do this, the more you'll understand, well, this is something that's going to stick or something that's not going to stick. So what I like to do is just add a few things, you know, add a few beads here and there. That one works really nicely. This is such a tiny one, I think that one will work too. Of course, if you're doing a bigger bauble, right, you can use bigger stuff. And then, when you just kind of have things sort of set, I'm wondering if that one's going to stick, y'all. I'm kind of thinking no. Then you start to fill in with some of your smaller beads, okay? And so start to fill in with some of your seed beads. Oops. Oh, no, she's not going to stay. Oh, she's going to roll. It's all right. I think that glue's dried enough that it won't interfere with that. So as far as the seed beads go, I just kind of sprinkle. And then when you sprinkle them, you have the ability to sort of move them around with your finger. I also really like using a needle to do this. And I use a sharp needle, not a dull needle, not like a a binding needle. I use a sharp needle. And then you can kind of just put these things around here. I think that the color needs just lifted just a bit. Whoop, there she goes again. So I'm going to add some gold right there. And that looks nice. So you're starting to kind of just build your like bead cluster on here. Also, don't get upset if some of the beads don't stick. Okay, it's not that big a deal. If some of the beads don't stick, then it's not that big a deal. These seed beads are super fussy. And my glue is starting to dry. So I have to finish up right here and then move on. And I can tell that that kind of larger bead right there is not going to work. So I'm going to take her out of the mix. Okay, alright. Kind of got that started there. I'm going to move to another spot. Try not to get quite as big a glop. And I think right here I am going to put a star right here. I think I'm going to bump the star over. So you can see how these tiny little charms really work great. Really great when you're doing something like this. No more glue. And let's do another little smattering of seed beads and that nice glue right there. Oh, these things are so tiny, but they're so great for this project. And remember, this is going to dry clear, so you're going to be cool. Don't worry about it. You can do designs. I'm going to use a few of these beagle beads. I must have my little Mia beagle dog on my mind. Bugle beads right here. And they're fun if you kind of just cluster them together. Just like that. It is kind of one of those things where you've got to get the sticky off your fingers every now and again. Alright, I think with this one I'm going to use a little bit of this art glass that I made, and I made a video about homemade art glass, but I'll see if I can find Jennibellie's as well. And you can see that that just really adds so much bling to this beaded bead. Okay, so we've got this much done. You can always go back, okay? So don't, you're going to have little spaces where you're not going to have anything, but you are building your bead, guys. You're building it, so don't be too fussed about it. Okay, we're going to do one more little bead cluster-ish thing here. Don't build close to the wooden skewer, or you're not going to be able to get the wooden skewer out. Just kind of be careful about that. I think for this one, I am going to drop in some more art glass. It's just so darn pretty. Let's switch seed beads. Let's get something different here. I have some blue. I am blessed with beads. Blessed with beads. It wasn't coming out right. Okay. And of course, work on paper so you can gather your, beads after you have pressed them into your piece. There we go. That blue really popped, didn't it? That's pretty. Let's do just a few more here. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. There we go. Alright, you guys, you kind of see what we're going for here. You can use the chunkier beads if, if they stay. Also, don't get upset. When I was doing this, I would have beads roll off, and it was like, darn, I really like that bead. But that bead was making a decision to not be a part of this beaded bead, so that is okay for her to decide to jump ship. Don't get upset. Just choose another bead. I hope that you guys really did like this little tutorial today. I know it was super simple. It's almost like a meditation, you guys, to kind of sit here and build these little beaded beads. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great Thursday, and I will see you guys quite soon. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.